Do you know where the phrase "the whole 9 yards" comes from?
No.
Neither does anyone else.
Welcome to the weekend end.
The English language is vast and confusing and comes from all sorts of different places.
Yes, it does.
Today we're going to take a look at some common phrases that we use today and what their origins are and where they came from. Should be pretty interesting. The first one is the phrase "hurts like the Dickens."
Hurts like the Dickens.
More specifically, the phrase "like the Dickens." I was always curious if this had something to do with Charles Dickens. Yeah, the author. If this was like because his stories are long and it hurts to read them, or
they're full of pain and tragedy.
But actually, there's no connection to the author and the origin of this saying. Dickens, in this case, is a euphemism for devil. Shakespeare used Dickens a couple times, like the Dickens, that phrase in his plays. And so the phrase is really "hurts like the devil," which is also a common phrase. But Dickens was likely considered more polite than devil in the Victorian times.
That makes sense.
May have been a superstitious alternative for them.
I'd rather be called the Dickens than the devil.
Yeah, probably. The next one is 40 winks, which is the idea of taking a nap, and like a nap, short period during the day, not like going to bed for a full time. You know,
gonna catch 40 winks. Okay,
yeah, catch 40 winks. This one is a little convoluted. One idea is there's a related saying, which is "I could not sleep a wink." So if you could not sleep a wink, you couldn't sleep for even the shortest amount of time. So that means that a wink is the shortest amount of time possible to sleep.
Sure.
So 40 winks would be a decent sized nap.
Longer. Okay.
Other people think that like a wink is like 30 seconds, which would make a 40 wink nap be about 20 minutes. If my math is right.
Okay. We'll get right on that. Yeah.
But someone check me on that.
Yeah.
So those are some possibilities, but it's not exactly sure. There's no nailed down definition of what winks are and why 40 of them is the good ideal time. Number. Yeah. It was used in a couple like medical textbooks and like doctors writing about it in the past. But
I always thought it had something to do with like your sleep cycle and like the REM and your eyes moving and like that being like winking or something. But
I feel like
that didn't make any sense. So.
I feel like that could make sense if. Rapid eye movement, winking is kind of a rapid eye movement, but the thing is that's a more modern discovery, and the phrase is a bit older.
That's true.
Another one is rule of thumb. So this just means like a general rule that everyone knows.
Like the video?
Yeah, like the video. That's a rule of thumb. You like a video when you watch it. So this one has actually a number of possible origins. The first one is that it's possible that a 17th century judge, English judge, Sir Francis Buller, ruled it was permissible for a husband to beat his wife with a stick as long as the stick was no wider than his thumb.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah. Sir Francis Buller was known for giving out harsh punishment, so that's why it's kind of possible, but I don't know. That seems a little bit far-fetched. I don't think don't beat your wife. Don't beat anybody. It's not a good idea. No matter what size rod you're using.
Yeah.
Another one, which kind of makes a little more sense, would be the rule of thumb would be a form of rough measurement, which probably comes from carpenters approximating inches with their thumbs. Another theory is that farmers use the length of a thumb to estimate how deep to plant seeds.
Oh, okay.
So you stick it
Interesting.
in.
Okay.
A couple ideas that are like, general rule kind of makes sense.
Yeah, kind of rule of thumb, sort of. Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Going back, we mentioned Shakespeare earlier. Going back to Shakespeare's time, we have the idea of sleep tight. So you have sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite.
Sure.
The don't let the bed bugs bite is just obvious. If you've got bed bugs, don't let them bite.
Don't let them.
That's the origin of that. But sleep tight, some people think that, during Shakespeare's time, mattresses were secured on bed frames by ropes. So it's kind of like have a net system of ropes attached to your bed frame that the mattress would sit on top of. To make the bed firmer, to get a good night's rest, you'd have to tighten the ropes or make sure they were tight before you go to bed. So it'd be sleep tight.
So sleep
could have been where that came from.
Firm,
you test the ropes to make sure they're tight.
Okay.
The other idea is, the other phrase is butter me up. Which is to give someone a compliment or to make them feel good, and you're trying to like get something in return, make them like you by being nice to them. There are two possible origins for this one. The one that's not quite as interesting is that people associate like buttering with, you spreading smooth butter on toast or bread, and that can be compared to spreading nice words on a person.
That's what I always thought.
Which would make sense, but it's not really that interesting. The one the origin that I like a lot better, it comes from an ancient Indian custom involving throwing balls of clarified butter at statues of the gods to seek favor with them.
Really?
Yeah. So literally,
so it's a butter ball.
Throwing chunks of butter at a statue to get them to like you. So I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I do too.
A much more interesting.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
And at the beginning of the episode, we talked about the whole 9 yards, and I said that no one knows what the origin of that is. There are a ton of theories about the origin of the whole 9 yards, but that phrase is actually known as the Bigfoot of phraseology, or whatever the study of like idioms is, because there's so many options, but a lot of people, no one can agree on one specific origin. Okay. So the most commonly known one is that during World War II, aircraft machine guns, their machine gun belts of ammo were 9 yards long. To go the whole 9 yards means to go all the way, or to put it all in, right?
All in.
So to go the whole 9 yards in that sense would be you use up all your ammunition on one target. He went the whole 9 yards on that. Really dedicated to that.
All in. Okay.
Another possibility is that 9 yards as a cubic measure refers to the volume of a concrete mixer, but that's not really consistent with the phrase's history. The phrase actually was around before World War I, so it wouldn't make sense that either a World War II reference or a concrete mixer would explain its origins.
Explain this, sure.
Kind of going back further on is the idea that like a whole 9 yards is a length of cloth. So Indian saris, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, Scottish kilts, burial shrouds, or bolts of cloth would possibly be made of a whole 9 yards. Also, bridal veils. Another idea, the word "dressed to the" or the phrase "dressed to the nines," meaning like all dressed up and looking really nice. One of the possible origins for that is that a really nice suit is made out of 9 yards of full 9 yards of fabric. That could be a possible origin for this as well. Another idea is the volume of a grave is a whole 9 yards, but that doesn't
really make sense with
you
the context.
Worked hard enough, you worked yourself to death, you gave it all, so you gave your life for it, maybe. I don't know, it doesn't work quite as much for me.
It seems like kind of a stretch.
Another interesting one is from the maritime world of full-rigged sailing ships. Where is that? Yeah, right up there. That one is not a full 9 yards. That's got more. But so instead of a unit of measurement, yards refer to yard arms, which are the arms that come off of a mast on a ship. So a 3-masted ship would have, each mast would have 3 yard arms on it. So 1, 2, 3, and 9 total. So a full 9 yards would be a ship with all of its sails out.
So kind of the same kind of all-in kind of.
Exactly. Or it could come from a medieval test that required a person to walk 9 steps over hot coals to prove their innocence. So going the whole 9 yards is walking all the way over the hot coals.
Doing everything you can for whatever.
But there's really no consensus on all of these. There's just it's a lot of guessing, and no one really knows. So it's really interesting to kind of look into and try to figure out what it is. But it's just, it's really interesting that, we don't know. And so if anyone asks you, or if anyone tells you for sure they know what it is, tell them.
They're probably lying. They're telling you
wrong.
Porky. Well, that's a wonderful list, and that's the list that we came up with. If you guys have any common phrases of your own, or if you have other theories that you've heard about any of these phrases, go ahead and share them with us below in the comments.
We'd love to hear them.
Absolutely. Also, go ahead and hit a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
And we'll see you next Monday morning.